Okay, I want to open the East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors AM meeting this Thursday, June 5th, 2025. The time is 9:14. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have a very special item to head off the agenda, and that is the promotion of one of our excellent police officers. So, yeah.
Good morning. I'm Police Chief Marcosi. I'm very honored today to introduce Detective Kyle Harnish and announce his promotion to corporal today. Hi, guys. I'm going to bring them up in front.
Put your left hand on the Bible, please. I'm sorry, what? Okay.
So Kyle's been with the police department for 12 years. He served in the patrol division for 10. He's been a detective for the last 2 years. He is presently our lead detective in the detective unit. He has a lot of other responsibilities in the PD. He is one of our department's evidence technicians for our evidence room. He is one of the less lethal instructors for the department, which includes the baton, pepper spray, and taser. And he works alongside of the deputy chief as one of our accreditation managers. With this promotion, Kyle is going to continue working in detectives and supervise the unit. Without further delay, I want to now introduce our chairman of the board, Carl Croft, who's going to administer the oath of office.
Thank you, Chief. Could you please put your left hand and raise your right hand? I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the laws and ordinances of the Township of East Brandywine, and the law enforcement code of ethics, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a police corporal with fidelity to the best of my ability. I will also uphold and obey and enforce the law without consideration for person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. If you do so, state I do. Congratulations. Thank you all for your patience. All right, public comment for agenda items. Rules for conduct of public meetings established by Resolution 2001-08 state that the time allocated to each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes unless otherwise set by the presiding officer. Additional public comment may be granted at the discretion of the presiding officer at the conclusion of the meeting. Is there any public comment?
Well, this would go under non-agenda, Sandy, because you were on the unless it's gonna be separate from something that's on today.
This is agenda.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, this is gonna be agenda for what's on the actual board's
You're gonna-
agenda.
you're gonna be
You're
in the
gonna be
sec-
non-agenda.
You're gonna be in the
because-
second.
I'm on agenda, so I should wait until the end.
Yeah, unless, unless the chairman wants to make non-agendas
It's
next.
too hot to work in the garden right now.
Fine. What else is there to do?
Yeah, you're not gonna.
Thank you for waiting.
Do you want to go now or later? Do you want to make your comments now, or do you want to do it at the end? Okay. I think that's wise. It'll give you more time.
I want more time. You know I want more time.
Right. Okay. Minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion to approve the May 15th, 2025 Board Supervisor meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report, authorization to pay bills, and approve the payroll. I have reviewed the treasurer's report, and I know that you two have done it too.
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and authorization to pay bills.
I'll second.
And approve the payroll.
I'm sorry,
What do
pay
we
the
pay?
payroll.
They will not like you. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Old business, 141 Crawford Road, conservation easement. Mr. Revit.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. In your packet this morning is a draft declaration of conservation easement and declaration of covenants proposed to be recorded at 141 Crawford Road, parcel we bought in fee using open space funds. The material is in your packet this morning, not as an action item. I anticipate authorization from this board to record a conservation easement at your PM meeting. As you may recall, this is the first model of open space preservation where we acquire a parcel in fee, record an easement, and then sell the property to a private party to enjoy and to return the parcel to the tax roll. I know that the township board has preferences on the content of an easement to be the minimum requirements necessary to achieve our open space goals, namely prohibition against further subdivision of this 10-acre parcel and some environmental protection areas. I've included this in the packet to start a dialogue about what should and should not be in a conservation easement that we record eventually. I will say, because we do not have funding partners for this project, what we write is the only standard we need to satisfy is those laws pertaining to the use of open space funds. If I could be so bold, Mr. Esty, I think you had a few comments initially on it.
Yeah, I did review it, and I provided a marked up copy to Luke, which I don't have with me this morning, but I'm sure he can provide that to the board. There may be, and I express the same issue, that I think we should strive to put the minimum restrictions on it and still be consistent with the open space goals. And I say that because the ultimate goal is to sell the property to the highest bidder.
With the easement on it.
With the easement on it, and I think that some buyers would be perhaps reluctant to purchase the property if it's, may I say, overly constrained.
I have a question, or do you want to?
The only agenda item today is discussion, so please, I welcome a question.
In the sketch plan provided by Regester Associates, there's a little red circle. Is that the area that the neighbor is using to park cars?
I don't think it's that egregious.
what it represents, so when we acquired the parcel and prior to developing an easement for recording, we needed an exhibit to demonstrate the protection areas. Therefore, a surveyor was engaged to mark the boundaries. The surveyor found, and what's marked on your plan, is an area of gravel parking lot that is across the property line. Township staff has sent a letter to the landowner, and I've had a phone conversation with the landowner on that subject.
And what's the, how would, my real question is, how is it handled in the easement?
Well, the property would still be subject to the easement, but I think it would be in our best interest to eliminate the encroachment. I'm not sure what the owner's position is, but since it's in a wooded and isolated area, I'm sure the previous owner was unaware of the encroachment. I doubt they knew where the property line is, but the bottom line is we ought to have that encroachment removed.
Certainly, this exhibit will be recorded at the Recorder of Deeds and be available to a future owner. So regardless of the township's position on the encroachment, it will be information available to a future private owner as well. So I agree with the solicitor. The time to address it is now.
And what do you mean by remove it? Tell them to get off the property?
They have to remove the stone and gravel, whatever's there.
Would they have to remove it or just not?
Well, they
use
don't
it?
have to remove it, but I think it would be a better situation if they remove it, because they may still use it if it's not removed.
And brought back to a vegetative state.
Right, and restored to earth.
And that's not in the draft right now?
The draft right now just subjects the entire property to the easement. There's nothing in the conservation easement mentioning this encroachment.
Has anybody discussed this with that particular property owner?
I think Luke indicated he spoke with the owner.
We sent a letter, and I had a phone conversation, I want to say maybe Monday night. No, it was actually Friday night of last week. The homeowner asked for more information, and I sent higher resolution pictures of this. I will point out that encroachment is estimated at about 300 square feet. So earlier I heard Supervisor Tarasky mention the scale of it. It is a gravel area that extends into 300 square feet of land owned by the township. So the remediation would be raking the gravel back onto your parcel.
Do they have additional space that they can still park their cars?
I did not inquire.
I didn't see cars being parked on that area. That gravel just spilled over the hill and down onto the property.
Right, it's kind of
So-
an accidental, like you said, nobody knew where
And
the
I
property
think
line.
the conservation easement was, I think, reviewed by, I saw an email from Natural Lands Trust. They had someone out there, and she corresponded with Luke, and there was a copy on the correspondence that it was very minimal.
Right, I mean, I want it removed, and you're right, it has to be dealt with in the easement, but I want to know what pain and suffering was inflicted on the adjacent property owner. Sounds like none.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. And
Okay.
I mean, the adjacent property is a rather large property.
Yes,
So
so-
it doesnent seem like it would have much of an impact.
So why did they pick there to?
I don't think they actually used it, just the stone kind of went over the line.
Right, and I would draw your attention to the area, so on the map that you shared with the circle is immediately above that area is labeled as the highest protection area. That is because it is heavily wooded. It would be difficult without the use of a surveyor to, in the future, in the enforcement of this conservation easement, know precisely where the property line is in the middle of the woods. And therefore, I think that the original encroachment out of the property line was accidental, inadvertent.
One of the other comments made by the representative of Natural Lands Trust was that some of the neighbors to the rear, when they were cleaning their yards, they would throw debris over into the other property. You know, those are the things that happen when you have a large parcel and you're surrounded by 5 or 6 neighbors. They just assume they can just throw their leaves and their limbs and their
Yeah,
things
I've been there,
onto the
yeah.
neighboring property because it's already woods. And that was the other comment that was made, that people have thrown their trash onto the back of the property. So at some point, you know, the neighborly gesture is to please stop doing that.
So if this successfully sells at auction, then my concern is the buyer's gonna want it surveyed, or at least review the
This
survey.
would be part of that.
I think your point's well taken. We don't want to try to sell the property with an encroachment on it.
Yeah.
The buyer's not going to want that, so we have to get it removed. One way or another.
So, and I hate to play devil's advocate here, but, okay, they don't remove it. They say, okay, we won't use it, but we're not removing it.
Well, that is not as concerning to me. We get a written acknowledgement from them that they not encroach on the property, and they recognize the property line. I'm not as concerned about that.
I will say, I have concerns about sticking to a timetable on this property. We have made as a prerequisite of advertising it for auction, the recording of an easement, so there can be no miscommunication about a potential bidder not being aware of a conservation easement. So, I mentioned that I would like to have authorization to record an easement at the PM meeting in June. Thereafter, we can start advertising it, which puts our auction at the earliest in late July, but more likely August. And owning, you know, owning a single-family house is not the usual business of a township. We're paying insurance for a vacant building, public works staff that's mowing the lawn and maintaining the building. I would not want anything, including this encroachment, to interfere with our timeline of disposing of the property.
Okay, any other comment? All right, so what motion do you make? Just to make a motion to accept the easement with the elimination of all encroachments? What do you?
I think what Luke is suggesting is that you review it, and then at the PM meeting this month, you would take action to approve the easement and authorize this report.
All right, because we have not seen the red line yet.
Well,
Correct.
yeah.
And you may want more or less of what I'm suggesting.
And it is appropriate that prior to the announcement of the agreement of sale, the purchase of property is discussed in executive session. But once we own the property, things like this need to be discussed in a public meeting. Hence, my attempt to put it on the agenda and to not expect action at this morning's meeting.
So you need no motion now.
Correct.
All right, any other questions? All right, moving on to acceptance of Cedarville bid proposal for the Bondsville Mill Bridge repairs.
Thank you. I've received a proposal for the Bondsville Mill Bridge scour repairs from Cedarville for $433,769. This is the last project from Hurricane Ida damage from September of 2021, yes, almost 4 years ago. This project includes survey, design, permitting, and construction. Scope of the work is to remove the temporary shoring installed by the Township Road Department as a temporary basis, placing fill on the stream bank, and installing a product named Scour Lot. This product is essentially earthen-filled bags placed along the stream, and this will provide a more natural look once completed. The project also includes repairs to the scour underneath the existing bridge footings. Temporary structure is needed so that the area can be dewatered, and concrete will be poured into that area to protect for future scour for the footings. I would like to ask permission to sign the proposal at your next meeting. Because I just received this proposal, we went through a couple drafts and I just received this proposal. last evening. I know the board hasn't had an opportunity to take a good look at it. And so I would like to hold off on asking permission to sign till your next meeting on June 19th.
May I add, the intent is that the fiscal note on this scope of service, which is a design, build, repair, is to be 100% funded by FEMA and PEMA.
Well, that was my first question, huh? So they will fund 100%,
Correct.
not a fixed amount on that.
We have a certain amount in hand already from FEMA. FEMA has pledged their share, which I believe is 10%, plus whatever overages are associated with the project
Do they have
at a
to
later
approve
date.
this contract?
Does FEMA have to approve it? No, they do not.
Okay.
Any changes to
I mean, I
the
don't trust
original-
FEMA, you know what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
Yeah, any changes to the original scope, FEMA they would want to.
And this is not really replacing the bridge, this is fortifying the foundation.
Correct.
And the sidewalls, in reality, the wing walls.
Correct. Yeah, during Hurricane Ida, it had washed out
Right.
behind one of the wing walls, compromising the driveway into the Bonsville Mill. So we, as a temporary measure, we went in and put the
Right.
box in and just
You put in a Jersey barriers or something?
something similar to Jersey barrier, yeah.
How close is this to the erosion along Bonsville Road that the state has now classified as high priority?
Yeah, that is downstream, I would say 150 yards or so.
So anything they do there isn't gonna hurt them?
No, we are
Isn't gonna
upstream.
cost us any money?
We are upstream from the PennDOT repairs.
And good luck, I have no idea how they're gonna fix that. Unless they can move a mountain.
I had a report on that in my manager's report either last month or in April.
Right. Questions?
No,
We're not voting.
No, because it gives us time to read it.
Right,
Okay.
and I will email.
Do you think this is a good price?
The original proposal did not include the scour under the footing, so that's why it took a little bit longer for me to receive.
Where is the scouring, where it summarizes the contract? Is that in construction?
Underpin the southern abutment.
Okay.
Found it quicker
And
than
who are we buying permits from?
DEP permit is the main permit. They'll have to do a bog turtle study, and then a wetlands delineation report, and then the permit is a chapter 105 and GP 11.
What's
GP
a
is a
bog
general
study?
permit. Bog turtle
Bog
study,
turtle?
yes.
Has anybody ever found a bog turtle?
I have not seen
I've
one
done
in
6
my.
studies and never found a bog turtle.
Yeah. But I think they mainly look for habitat suitable for a bog turtle.
I moved a box turtle off the road yesterday.
Oh,
There's also other things like bat flyway zones and there's bat habitats.
there ain't bats left, because this
There's a lot of
virus has killed them all.
A lot of restrictions out there.
Why do we need DEP? They're totally unhelpful.
Generally, projects that involve DEP, taking Old Horseshoe Pike, for example, the permitting and all the preliminary can take 6 to 8 months, and that project's expected to take about 3 weeks. Once
Where's
once
Elon
it
Musk
gets-
when you need him?
Pardon?
Where's Elon Musk when you need him? All right.
And it's a more specific question, I draw your attention to the screen there. Either point of that line, the north point is the location of the bridge repair. The south point of that line, 800 feet away, is the scour area that PennDOT will be remedying on township land.
any other questions? Thank you, Matt.
Sure, thank you.
We have, under new business, library presentation. Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
All right, so as you can see on the agenda, I am here from the Downingtown Library. I want to start by saying thank you for your support for 2025. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we do with your support, what our goals are for this year, how busy and popular the library is, and what kind of impact we're making on the community. Our 2024 annual report is all completed. We had over 111,000 instances where somebody walked through our door last year. So we are busy. We are a relatively small space, about 7,000 square feet. We have about 16 staff, most of them part-time, and we are running on our feet all day, every day, checking things in, checking things out, helping people find materials, helping to manage and run programs. We are very active. Last year, we had 814 programs. Keep in mind, there are only 365 days in the year, and we're closed on Sundays. So we are constantly in motion. Those programs are for all ages. This morning at 10:30, we will have a story time, a drop-in story time, so there's no registration required. We try to make things accessible as we can. That will be actually outdoors. It's a little bit soupy today, but hopefully by 10:30 it's not too hot for everybody to have a good time singing, dancing, listening to a story. That's really geared to kids 0 to 6. And we like the drop-in format because the whole family can come. The 2-year-old and the 4-year-old can both be in the same program. But we also have age-specific programs. This week we kicked off our baby music time program, which is for littles under 2, and they are ringing bells and hitting little drums and building all of those brain connections that they get out of working with music and rhythm. And last year we had over 14,000 attendances at those programs. Now I have our very special flyer. Summer reading kicks off on Saturday. People can register for summer reading starting on Saturday and all throughout the summer. Again, we want to make things really accessible. So a family could register for summer reading midway through July, and they read as much as they're able to before the program wraps up in August. That's fine. We're not particularly concerned about any specific timelines. Children, teens, and adults all get rewarded for reading in the summer. Our kids have the option of a raffle ticket that they have to save until the end to put in the baskets, or, and this is popular for the littler ones, they can get a plastic egg out of the machine and get a sticker or a little eraser or something right now. So that immediate reward is appealing for a lot of the littler kids, but they get really excited about turning in their reading minutes, and that really encourages them to be reading by themselves or with an adult at home. Teens do a bingo, so they might check off a square for reading outside, reading a book that was recommended by a friend. There's all different categories that they can complete, and they have the opportunity to get raffle tickets as well. And our adults log their reading for every book they read. They put it into the Beanstack app, and they get a virtual raffle ticket to also participate in the raffle at the end of the summer. And we have lots of special programs that we incorporate with summer reading. This year's theme is Color Our World. So I'm excited for the sidewalk chalk art party. I think it will be fun to come in and see how our sidewalk looks after that wraps up. And we also try to incorporate things like STEM learning. So our builders and Lego programs have been popular with tweens. They rotate between STEM toy stations, and they can work collaboratively or alone. They have challenges that they can work towards, and it just gets them engaged with manipulative STEM materials. For littler kids, something like Box Turtle Storytime is really exciting. Our favorite park ranger, Mr. Jared, comes with Mr. Charlie, who is a box turtle, and the kids get to see and pet Mr. Charlie, so that's very exciting.
Perhaps the one Francis saves.
I think Mr. Charlie lives permanently in a cage, so he's pretty protected from the street, but I'm sure he could use friends. And this is just kind of an overview of our January through March circulation and activities. You can see a picture here from one of our programs, which was our Valentine's Day drop-in story time. Miss Rebecca and Miss Heather had 95 friends with them, celebrating the holiday and listening to books, singing. We learned to make a heart with our hands. So we have a lot going on at the library. I don't want to overlook our adult programs. We have 2 game nights, 3 knitting groups, a book club, a writer's club, all kinds of places for adults to engage, plus a lot of lectures. We had a lecture on Monday on perimenopause. We have lectures on preparing for Social Security. We have lectures on history and civic literacy topics. So we have a broad spectrum of interests that adults can engage with at the library. Are there any questions about the library or our programs, services?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes.
In your pie chart for revenues there, you have a significant category which is other at $167,000.
Yes.
Am I out of line in assuming a significant part of that is federal IMLS funds?
That is not the case.
Okay.
And I can, how much detail do you want on
Well,
that?
no, there have been recent developments related to library funding from
Yes.
the Institute of Museum and Library Services at the federal level. And I'm wondering what impact that will have on your operation.
We don't know yet. So basically, the state of Pennsylvania gets about $6 million a year in federal IMLS funding. About half of that goes to state-level library programs. One of those is called PA Forward. We are a participant, and basically that is libraries demonstrating that they are addressing the 5 areas of literacy the state has identified as crucial, which is financial, health, information, basic, and civic literacies. So we demonstrate that we address all of those through our programs and services. So that kind of program may be affected by IMLS funding cuts. It wouldn't directly affect our funding. It's more something that we participate in and sort of a communication framework. The other half of the IMLS funding funds positions at the state library level. So that's the other $3 million. Now, originally, the state was told they would not receive any of those $6 million. The beginning of May, they found out they would get half of that annual allotment. The other half is still uncertain. But those cuts, like I said, really hit more at the state Bureau of Library Development and Office of Libraries level. We do not get any direct IMLS funding, although we benefit from the services and leadership the state offers. The other category in our pie chart is largely fundraising. For the community, we have fundraising events and an annual appeal and that sort of work.
But as we look toward our budget process, which generally kicks off in July, I was just anticipating whether or not any portion of the library's request for township funding would be to make up for a federal deficit, and I'm hearing probably not.
No, fortunately, what is happening at the federal level does not directly impact us, but how what happens at the federal level trickles down to our state or county funding could affect us. We think we probably won't see that start to happen until 2027, but things change rapidly and sometimes significantly. So all of that is looking into my crystal ball.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I enjoyed the presentation.
Excellent. Does everybody have their library card? It is free. You can get print, digital. You don't need a card to attend the library programs. We make them as accessible as possible, like I said. And if you're talking to people out in the community, encourage them to get their library card. They live here, so they're qualified and eligible to have a free library card. And even if they never come to the library, between Libby, the e-audiobooks, the e-books, the Canopy, which is free streaming service for videos and movies, you don't actually have to come to the library to benefit from everything that we provide for the community. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, under subdivision, zoning, and zoning applications, I see none on the agenda. And under ordinances and resolution for consideration, Resolution 10 of 2025, SFPN 120 Down Forge Road.
Do you want to talk, or do you want me to?
It says ... Elter.
Okay,
Well, the agenda says you have to talk.
super. So, Resolution 10 of 2025 is part of the sewage facility planning module for 120 Down Forge Road. This is a standard procedure required by the DEP in order for them to continue their review process. These applicants have already gone before the Planning Commission as well as the Zoning Hearing Board for their project. So this morning I'm asking the board's permission to submit Resolution 10 of 2025 to the DEP for them to continue their process.
You've said it and I missed it. This is the old campground property?
No, this
No.
is, it is a addition onto a home at 120 Dallin Forge.
Is this the one?
Oh, down
This is
the
the
forge.
property next to McGettigan's.
Yes, okay.
And we have an easement on that property, open space easement. We're trying to get that trail extended through. I think
All right.
they're doing an in-law suite. So this is just part of that.
Shortly to become an ADU. That's what it is, yeah. All right, any other questions on that? Public comment on non-agenda items? Yes.
So we need to adopt that ordinance, right?
Oh, I thought it was just a,
I'll make a motion then to adopt Resolution 10 of 2025, SFPN 120 Down Forge Road.
I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now. Be quick because there's still stuff on the.
As I said earlier, you have my report submitted to the foundation. And I'm not going to go too far off of that report. The most exciting thing is I just received a $1,500 donation from the Chester County beekeepers towards, my grant was requesting plants to replace some of the plants that we lost during the drought and the rather nasty winter that we had. I have several pending grants, fingers crossed. One is for $7,000 in 2025, and the other is $7,000 in 2026. I should be notified in July whether or not those two grants will come through. They are from an insurance company called AXAXL. This is a French insurance company. My local contacts have their business located in Exton, up in the Exton Hankin development. It's a worldwide company. They have what they call, our gardens have been pretty much adopted by the AXA people. For instance, the last 3 years, they have brought groups of employees into the gardens to work. They call it the Global Day of Giving, and the French company allocates $50 per volunteer to our organization to do what we want to do with it. The first year we bought mulch, the second year we bought plants. This year we'll buy plants again. It's a great group. We've got 20-some people coming on June 18th. They are required to, well, I say required, the man that is in charge of our gardens requires them to be on time at 9 o'clock with garden gloves and bottles of water in hand. They will stay, they will have lunch, and then they will probably be there until 2 or 3 o'clock. So this is in addition to what the funding that I've requested from them for the last few years. Right now, we're at close to $20,000, and if I get this additional funding, that it'll be close to $30,000 from them. So I really wanted you all to know about this insurance company. It's not very well known in the United States. Their goal is primarily environmental. Worldwide, they are sort of like the State Farm insurance company. They're very well known for car and automobile insurance and things like that. The beekeepers have been really good to us as well. This is the second grant that I've had from them. What I wanted to, we also have the Philadelphia Horticultural Society coming in September. And these are the people that put on the Philadelphia Flower Show. They are going to do a write-up on the Bondsville Mill Gardens in their fall magazine. It's going to be a 3-page spread. We've already had a 2-page spread in Mainline Today's magazine. And it's really interesting because apparently Mainline Today leaves all these magazines at dental offices. So it's not unusual for somebody to come into the garden and say, I saw you in that magazine because I saw it in my dentist office. It's not like I don't know how they get them. I mean, it is available online. Now, next year, it's very likely that we are going to have the American Horticultural Society come into the gardens. And this is really big time. This is very special. And as we move forward into marketing and so forth and so on, I don't know what that means to East Brandywine Township. I mean, we had the Wisconsin Garden Club come in one of those great big tour buses not too long ago. I was wishing we had a restaurant or something like that where we could send them. We had Longwood Gardens sponsor a tour into the gardens a few weeks ago. They all came with their own, Longwood provided lunch for them all, and they used our picnic tables. But I just don't, this is not, I don't know what a township would thinks about moving forward with gardens and so forth, but East Brandywine Township is becoming known as a garden center, and I wanted to make sure that you understood that. Other than that, it's just, we did support Downingtown STEM Academy's participation in the 2025 Environmental Fund. And this is a statewide competition. They did not place. It was their first time out, but those kids were so excited to be able to come to the park. They looked into our trees. They dug up little samples of soil and sent them off, and generally had a great time. They played in the creek. I mean, when you've got water and it's a nice day, kids are great. So with all of that, do you have any questions about what we're doing garden-wise? I do everything I can, and Luke can verify this. I mean, I do not want taxpayer dollars going towards our gardens. We do this through donations, but primarily we do it through the grants that I write.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I don't have a question more, but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on non-agenda items? Notices. There have been no executive sessions have been held prior to this meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.